Hello and welcome to the first of my monthly book reviews. I'm doing this obviously for Lost in Classics, but also part of my Classics Club reading programme challenge, where I will be reading one book a month for the next 5 years. Also, I think it's a great way to give my take on the story, summarise my thoughts, and explain what I have learnt while reading each book. I chose Brave New World by Aldous Huxley because it was recommended by a friend, and I thought a futuristic tale could be a great way to start the year, and so it has been. This is just the sort of book I like. It's very original, and it has some meaty ideas to get your teeth into. So, what's it all about? Well, I'm sorry if there are any mistakes in my account, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. Brave New World is set in a futuristic world state where humans are farmed in laboratories and conditioned throughout their lives to fulfill set roles in society and maximise consumption. This human production line world, unsurprisingly, sees Henry Ford, captain of American industry, as God. People belong to different castes or levels of society and busy themselves with their work, organised sports and parties. They are kept happy by taking large amounts of the drug soma, which has no immediate negative side effects and that is provided by the state. Basically, everything is different from our society. There are no families or long-term relationships and promiscuity is encouraged. Excuse me. Anyone who differs from the standard is considered defective. For example, Bernard Marx, who comes from the highest caste but who is unusually short, causing him to feel inadequate and therefore doubt the system. And his friend Helmholtz Watson, also an alpha, who feels he would like to do something more useful with his life. However, it seems that not all the world is under the world state, as there are savage reservations where some people live in families, have children, and basically live our less perfect life. Perhaps naturally in a world where Ford is God, travel is quick and efficient, and so people can easily go on holiday, even to visit a reservation. Bernard goes there with Lenina, a girl who is beautiful but unlike Bernard, shallow and strongly attached to conforming. Lenina is shocked by the way people live in the reservation. It is rough, dirty and violent, in stark contrast to the world state. The couple meet Linda, a woman who once lived in the world state but was stranded in the reservation there after an accident while she was on holiday. Linda had to stay in the reservation because she was pregnant, and it would have been shameful for her to be pregnant in the world state where there are only test tube babies. She raised her son there with stories about the better world on the other side, but they both remained outsiders, she because of her promiscuous ways, and he because he didn't completely belong to either world. John sought refuge in his own reading material, the complete works of Shakespeare, and was inspired by the beautiful language and sentiment. When Bernard discovers that John's father is in fact the director who administrates the Central London Hatchery and Conditioning Centre, he wants to take John and Linda back to the world state to reveal the scandal and to discredit the director who had previously threatened to exile him for his controversial ideas. Once back in the world state, the director resigns in shame and Linda is put on a soma holiday and eventually dies. This is really sad because it shows how strong her conditioning had been, that after tasting freedom she preferred to go back to her cage. John the Savage instead becomes like a celebrity. There is a love interest between John and Lenina, but it doesn't go anywhere because she's too superficial. John's grief at his mother's death causes uproar, and Bertrand and Helmholtz are exiled by the resident world controller for Western Europe for antisocial activity. John decides to isolate himself and punish himself, but soon attracts prying eyes. He finds this extremely irritating and lashes out, hitting a woman. In his remorse, he commits suicide and is found hanging. I have found the book very inspiring, particularly some of the words of John the Savage, who wants to live life in all its shades to the full. The quote, "But I don't want comfort. I want God. I want poetry. I want real danger. I want freedom. I want goodness. I want sin. This sums up what I want to do with my book club. I want to feel strong emotions and live 1,000 lives through reading. I believe that emotional connection makes memorization easier and longer lasting. So, put simply, reading can help you to improve your English by doing something you love. This quote is my motto for this year, as it really motivates me. As regards the language of the book, some of the most interesting examples can be found contrasting the language of the two main characters, John and Lenina. Lenina spouts drilled, bland, set phrases that she has learnt through hypnopedia, while John quotes Shakespeare. Okay, so the words aren't his own, but he adapts them to his own personal circumstances, adding meaning. I have already written an article on idiomatic expressions in Brave New World. Idiomatic expressions are key when learning a language, as copying phrases that natives use quickly allows you to sound more natural in a particular context and create empathy, the idea of shared experience and belonging to a community. It helps you avoid translating from your own language into English. However, paradoxically, now that English has become an international language, overuse of idioms may be exclusive. Remember that many of the expressions we use today were first coined in literature, most importantly by Shakespeare. Why not shake things up a little and create your own, or resuscitate expressions you have read in literature? This novel raises some really interesting questions. How close to our world is Huxley's? Is our decision-making being controlled with social media, pornography, the commercialization of sex, advertising, and reality TV? Mond, the resident world controller for Western Europe, says, "The world's stable now. People are happy. They get what they want, and they never want what they can't get." Is that so bad? Do we really want to be happy all the time? I think Huxley contrasts the world state and the reservation to underline the fact that, yes, life may be messy and hard, but it is real, and in the midst of it we can find beauty, as John found Shakespeare. Well, that's my review of Brave New World. Please let me know what you think. I'd love to hear comments or your opinion on the book. And if you haven't read it, I've spoiled it for you now, but because I've told you the whole plot. But okay, never mind. That will teach you. Next time you have to look at what I'm reading on Lost in Classics and read before I do the review, because I usually do the review right about the end of the month, so that then we've got time to start a new book next month. So next month I'm going to have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, so you can start reading now, and so then I won't spoil anything for you in my next review. Alright, see you soon on Lost in Classics. Bye.